Hello everyone, today I'm taking out my sketchbook and drawing some portraits in the great outdoors. It's the Lily Factor! Ding! Alright, so basically I've been cooped up in the house a lot lately due to many reasons that there's really no need to get into. I think everyone has been cooped up in their houses a lot since the whole worldwide fiasco that we're all enduring so far. Basically, I just wanted to get outside and just do a little bit of drawing. I always find that I have a lot of fun drawing when I'm outside because I can kind of look around and take things in. I especially love that when I got out to draw today, in the great outdoors, there were like wind chimes and seagulls squawking, and it was so peaceful, and it wasn't too windy either, so I wasn't very cold. I did get colder towards the end of my doodling session, because then the sun was starting to go down. It was starting to get a little cold. But it was a lot of fun. I had my iPad next to me, and I just had some references up for portraits, and I just got into sketching some portraits. I wasn't really thinking about anything, trying to practice anything. I just wanted to just draw something, and I was feeling like portraits, so that was kind of the motivation there. But gosh, it was so nice to just be in that serene, peaceful outdoor location and just really get to slowly take my time drawing. It was funny because I felt like I was drawing really slow and like that, not focusing on trying to draw fast or anything, but I just felt like, I was kind of taking everything in and, functioning really slow. But then I would look at my camera and it would be like 2 minutes have gone by and I've already like sketched out a lot for my usual, a little faster than how I'd usually go about it. So it was very interesting to me. I was like, huh. So I guess you could say I was in the zone. At the beginning, I was a bit torn. I knew I wanted to sketch some portraits and sort of shade them in. But as I was sketching this particular portrait, I was wondering if I should get a blending stump or just use my finger and soften the shading a bit. But I was really just in the zone and I was having a lot of fun. So I ended up just kind of doing some cross-hatching for the shading. It was around this point I started adding some finishing shading touches to this portrait when it was not too cold outside, but it was just because my hands were just kind of facing the wind. My hands started to get very cold, and so I was like, oh gosh, I'm freezing. Like, my hands are freezing. Not really me being freezing, more of my hands. But I knew I needed to, like, get some gloves. But I was really having a lot of fun with this portrait. So I was, like, kind of rushing to finish it. And then I did. And I went and I got some gloves, as well as some outliners, 2 artist pens, and what is it called? Blending. I referred to it earlier. A blending stump? I think that's what it's called. I don't remember, gosh. But I actually didn't end up using that stump, so kind of grabbed that for no reason. But I did use the other utensils I grabbed along with those gloves, which they didn't keep my hands entirely warm, but just warm enough to where I was like, I can still stay outside. And then there was a point, because it was kind of cloudy, there was a point where the sun started to kind of peek out in this portrait. But I had a lot of fun with this portrait. I really liked the person's face. She was kind of just this representation of like what I like to draw for characters. I like to give them like a long, lean neck and big eyes and and just unique features, and she definitely had that, so I had a lot of fun drawing her. It was a little difficult, though, I will say, to draw portraits with a pair of gloves on. I mean, these were thankfully more thin kind of gloves, but there were some parts I would have to take them off because it was just really difficult to get the lines I wanted with gloves on, which is surprising, but somehow it just kind of messes with your mobility, but it didn't affect anything too badly. I just had to kind of go in and fix certain areas whenever I could and then put the gloves back on, but I don't think they affected my drawing ability too much, so no excuses there. It was around this point where I added some final touches to the shading, and then I brought forth the Pit Artist pens, which I really hate calling them that. I just feel like that name is not a fancy name. Whoa, that was a close call. Did you see that? The wind blew and that marker was about to hit the paper. Thank goodness it didn't. That would have really stunk for me. But anyway, I brought forth, I'm just going to call them Faber-Castell markers. Is that cool with everybody? Yeah. Anyway, I brought forth those and I added some, because she had like these cool patterns on her shirt. I didn't do them justice, of course, but it's not the easiest pattern to replicate on paper. But anyway, I brought forth that. I keep saying brought forth. Anyway, I used those markers to do the designs on her t-shirt, and then I used a beige color to go on top of that black and add a little more shading because it just goes right over the pencil, and then the pencil is like gone. Where'd the pencil go? You know, that kind of thing. So yeah, and then I touched up the shading and it was time to move on to the next portrait, and that I brought out an Arteza outline. A BIC Intensity outliner, and I just started sketching out the next portrait. This person was a lot younger because I don't do like a whole lot of younger looking people and characters, so I thought it would be kind of interesting. And I mean, the picture of the girl I used for the drawing, I mean, she was precious, so of course I had to draw her. And I liked her hair too. I thought it was a little it's not entirely different from what I've done before, but it was something a little more fresh. So I had a lot of fun doing that, and oh wow, that's risky. I was drawing the teeth. Yeah, this portrait was definitely hard with gloves on, because it's already difficult enough when you know you don't have that erasing option because you're using a marker to sketch it out. But yeah, it just, since it was so fine point too, it was really hard to get the sharp lines I wanted, but I think it was also really great practice. So I almost feel like drawing with gloves is like a sort of challenge. Maybe I can do that, like get out some really big winter gloves that I have, try and draw with those in hand. I don't know though, I don't feel like it would affect that much, but definitely got windier on my last two portraits, because the day was starting to end. So yeah, it'll start to change in the old weather department. I had so much fun drawing those ponytails. Oh my gosh, they were so curly, and it was a lot of fun doing that in that fine point marker. But anyway, as you can see, I'm finalizing those last few bits of shading and detail, and now I'm moving on to the last portrait, which I was, so deep into drawing, I paused for a moment and I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't drawn a guy in here. I need to draw a guy. I want to draw a guy. And so that's kind of how that happened. This last portrait, I was sort of rushing through because the sun was going down, and that's not me going like, oh, the sun's going down, I have to finish filming. More of the sun's going down and gosh, it's freezing now. The wind started picking up and it just started to get a lot colder than it was when I started. So I was like, all right, come on, let's get this done. Gosh, my hair, it's like clamoring for attention over there. Like, look at me, look at me. It started to get a lot breezier towards the end of these portraits. But it was kind of funny because the reference I was using for this dude, he ended up looking nothing like the actual reference I used, which is perfectly fine with me. Like, the more unique it is and original, the better. But it was a lot of fun doing this one. I like sketching with like darker colors with the fine point markers because it just looks really good. But yeah, I started to like kind of lose more stability because I was getting cold and stiff, and so and I was wearing gloves, so I was like trying to get those last details in and try not to mess everything up in the process. But it was definitely a lot of fun just using like cross hatching and not having to go into full detail, but to add those nice little bits of shading. I love it when there's like kind of a white gap there that has like that little peak of light that hits you know, the cheek area of the face. Oh my gosh, it's just so much fun, and I love it when I'm able to accomplish that in my sketching and shading. And I had a lot of fun too with his pose, because I didn't like fully draw his pose or anything, but the way he was angled, he had like one arm up, and I mean, like I said, I'm not drawing the full arm up, but you know, I was able to give it that kind of angle, so it really helps with like making the whole page look really nice. And here is the whole page. I hope you all had a lot of fun watching this video. I certainly had fun making it, and I hope you were able to get inspired to draw outside, because it's great. Thank you all for watching. Good luck in life and in art. Bye!